Alright, I guess this episode is just gonna kind of show up at some point. What's up with you? What's your problem? You got plenty of iron. Okay, so it's the output that's the problem. Alright, so I'm noticing this is a bit of an issue as heavy bottlenecking sets in. Oh. You know what else is setting in? I'm rendering a video. That's dumb. Let's stop that. It doesn't need to render right now. Okay. That should... Oh yeah, that helps with the chop. So I'm noticing a lot of bottlenecking on the lines, and I'm going to be honest with you, this has actually been bothering me for the past couple days. So I'm actually going to be playing some Satisfactory off stream as a fix my factory. So for starters, we need a lot of space. We need a lot of room. So let's fix this. So I think the biggest issue that I'm running into is that I've been doing things direct, and I think that's a mistake. We're having our iron lines back up in a really bad way, where they should be moving fairly smoothly. Like, it's better to have shortages than shortages of raw iron ore, because that means it's just a supply issue. But if it's getting backed up, that means I'm not using it fast enough. And because of how big and expansive this game is, I've always just kind of been in this... Well, that's just going to be down there then. I've always been of this opinion that, like, okay, I'm just going to kind of compartmentalize everything. And now I realize that's freaking stupid. So we're going to decompartmentalize everything and try and make it work. So I think for starters, I'm going to tear a lot of stuff up. I was originally going to tear everything up, but I think that's dumb. There's a lot of dumb that needs to be addressed here. I think today is the day that we deal with it. So I'm going to hit store all, but we want iron plates. But we don't want the iron ingots. Those are next to worthless for me. I guess I'll grab all the concrete, because we're going to be using that. Okay, should probably go grab some iron plates, but I'm 90% certain they're downstairs. No, actually, we've got a full container here. I really wish there was tech that you could get that would actually increase storage containers. But then again, there's just better storage containers, so maybe it's not bad. Mainly, I would like to have some storage containers where the stacks go above, like, 100. Anywho. Easy solution. I'm just going to rip all of this up. We're going to keep the smelters, but we're going to get rid of the constructors. We don't need them, and in retrospect, putting them like this was naive. I shouldn't put myself down too much, but it's one of those where it's like, I forgot how to play Factorio. And you may ask yourself, wonder, why does Factorio factor into any of this? And the answer is, in Factorio, whenever I'd play, I would rarely have all of my industry hooked up. You don't have your smelters feeding into your assemblers. That's noob play. And I forgot that. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you have some pretty heavy resource scarcities early on in this game, and trying to hand move like all of the resources around is a giant pain in the butt, and it should not be done. And it didn't really like click in my head like, oh yeah, I should probably actually figure out how to utilize my resources in a better way than I have been, instead of just trying to scale the whole factory up. Let's see, so I'm going to rip all of this stuff up. And then we're going to rebuild it better, except for that. That's going to have to sit there because I don't have enough inventory space for it. So let's even take back some of these power poles. Because this is just going to be smelt row. We're going to have smelters on either side of these conveyor belts, and they're just going to be dumping iron ingots into a giant network of storage containers, which then gets ported elsewhere. Because, as it stands, a lot of my smelters are full. Like, yeah, this thing has 100. Which means I could have another smelter in there, no problem. I could have a bunch of smelters. And so if any of my iron lines are getting backed up, that means I'm doing it wrong. And I don't know why it didn't click until, like, earlier today. I was sitting around trying to think of, like, how to redesign it. It was actually really tempting to just, like, load the game up and, you know, play on my own for a while. And, well, here we are. So there's that. I gotta go get some wire. But, you know, I even started, like, ripping up the top floor, being like, okay, you know, clearly this needs redo. But I couldn't quite figure out how I was supposed to do it. And the answer is sitting right here. We'll figure out if I'm going to do this with the copper. I probably will as things scale up, but iron right now is our big holding point, especially because we're going to be getting into steel fairly soon, and that's an issue. Oh, let's see. So the big other issue that I'm looking at here is that we've only got 4 lines. I guess I could realistically not split them the other direction. We could just... I'll think about that. The main issue is trying to handle splitters in this really tight spread would be an issue. I'd have to move all of these lines over a bit, which actually wouldn't be so bad. Alternatively, okay, better yet. Oh, I'm not going to appreciate having all this ore in my inventory. Okay. I'm gonna grab everything at the curve. So I said I wanted to avoid Spaghetti Factory, and I think that stands. Let's see. There's a splitter here. Okay. So we want to hook this up. Now, it doesn't look like this is actually connected. What I'm thinking is, it's not pretty, but I can have splitters just plugging into this whole thing. The only issue is that one. Does not have a whole lot of space. So if I wanted to get a... Okay. I guess I'm actually gonna... I'm gonna dump this. We're gonna dump that. I'm gonna try fitting a splitter right freaking in here. And hopefully we can connect it all. Looks like it works. Okay. Logic is, plug this in. Okay, cool. So we're going to want to do the same thing at every interval here. Okay, let's tear these lines up. We can reconnect them. We have the power. We have the technology. Oops, and we have a thing sitting in the way. But so the reason why I want to do this is I can actually have a belt coming off of this one going over to a series of smelters along the other side. Oh, dang it. I wasn't actually supposed to do that. I was actually supposed to do it here. Oh. So because this split... Okay. So this needs to go away for a bit. You... So in that case... Ooh. Okay. I get it, but it's awkward. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've only got 3 of these, so I should probably have 2 more smelters down the side here. And how close do they have to be together? I guess we just want to center them. Oh boy. In retrospect, could have done this part a bit better. Okay, put that there. Put a power pole in between them. We want to have a splitter here. and a merger here. Yeah, so I could have actually made this considerably tighter. Especially if I'm doing this. Maybe we'll do that on another side or later. I do like having the extra room to maneuver, and space is the one resource that I have an insane amount of. The only thing I guess that would do is save me overhead on T2 belts. But it would also cost me in terms of, like, trying to navigate my giant horror factory. So, yeah, I'm just gonna call this... I'm fine. Okay. Is that good? I think that's good. Okay, so we've got 4 iron belts coming in, and we're going to be splitting them in both ways. We want to have you go all the way down here without splitting. %90 certain. That'll do. Okay. So next we want to have splitter here. There we go. Okay, splitter into that nice linear pattern. This is only going to work once with this level of, like, tight design, but that's okay. I guess we should have this one come down so we can figure out exactly... Plonk it there. So it does just have to be in this section. Perfect. Because, yeah, I guess I don't have to have the other lines go down as... No, I do. How the hell do you do any of this? Splitters are annoying. Balancing lines is really annoying. Balancing lines with this little space is actually awful. Okay, screw it. We're gonna do alternate plan. I need more space than this. There's no way I'm gonna be able to fit all this in. I gave myself room to breathe on these, so I should give myself room to breathe on everything else. Instead of being a wackadoo and being like, no, it must all connect in a very tight and actually frustrating manner. What? No. Don't be a daft bunny. That's wrong. Just because they can jam in that close does not mean they necessarily have to be that close. Okay, pretty sure that's all lined up. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, cool. The reason why I wanted to do this is this way we can actually have a number of these splitters just going down. And this will also kind of tell me, like, hey, when do I have too much? Okay. So I guess in that case, this whole business is moot as well. Designing factories, not easy. This is probably why people follow guides and watch other YouTubers to do things, but that's not my style. I'd rather figure things out as I go along. It's so much more fulfilling, I guess. Even if, yes, it does mean that I'd spend half of my playthrough on the, you know, at the drawing table as opposed to anything else. But, I mean, you know what? That's fine. That was my job before I even started doing this, so... Drawing table, hell yeah. Alright. So what this is going to do is it's going to split into my splitters. Splitters are going to then split it into the rest of this. So we're going to want to have... Let's see. I want to do, is it organization? No, it's logistics. I'm just going to do conveyor pull as 7. Easiest way for me to organize this is just to have a bunch of these lined up. And then all I have to do is just extend off of the ones that I want to use. Perfect. Let's see. Let's get rid of the ones that we're not using. Okay, next up, I'm pretty sure there's a better splitter pattern for this. It's the next one. 90% certain. Yep. There we go. Pretty sure that's exactly what I'm looking for. Alright, let's get these all lined up. Okay, a lot more room to breathe. Let's see. So we want to do... Actually, want to get some foundations down. Yeah, I want to scale this up so this factory is actually usable. That was one of my big beefs. We're going to have to move some of these things around, but I just... Oh, that's weird. I didn't honestly know that was possible. I gotta look at this. That, this doesn't seem like it's working as intended. What is going on? Alright, whatever, I'm gonna rip this up. Idea of it is neat. But in this situation, don't need it. Alright, let's see. Actually gonna rip this one up. I know it's already connected, but we're just gonna shoot the belt over like an inch or two. I'm gonna have to get rid of some of this ore. Bad. Okay, you should be the one. There we go. Okay. So what this does is this gives me access to all of these belts without having this, like, horror cluster nightmare. And it should mean I should be able to start sending resources up freely. Assuming it works. And then we'll have to go back upstairs. One small concern is that I am not currently producing any resources, but whatever. Okay, so power is out. That's an issue. Oh, nice thing is, I can actually go back to these power poles. We can move them. Not super pretty. I almost wish I had moved these two over to the side. Let me think. Well, you know what? We can still have him run down this line. Because this is going to be right next to the splitters. Okay, is that all? Yeah, this is all lined up. So every other one of these, we're going to want to have a power pole. I'm just going to extend them all the way down, because ideally I'd like to expand this out further on both sides and going as far down as I need to. But that's for another time. Okay. Alright, everything should be linked up. I'm gonna I'm going to redundancy up just a smidge. Because redundancy is good. And we honestly might want to get a second set of power poles going along this route or something. Just so. Okay, cool. So now that we've got this, we've still got iron plates. Iron ingots. Take them from my inventory, please. I have so many. Okay, cool. So that clears that out a little bit, and I'll have to port the rest in somehow. Next up, we want to do organization. Now, how many of these can I stack? I could potentially stack 3. I think I'm going to stack 2. So if you're wondering why I'm stacking 2, like this, it's mainly to do with the fact that we're going... that ain't gonna work. It does not want to go any further. Okay, hopefully that's enough room. Okay, there we go. Mainly, I'm going to have madcap overflow iron always. And it's better to have a huge amount of it in stock first than not. I'm going to call this extra redundancy is good. Iron. We need so much iron. And the more of it I have just stored, the better. Because, like, full lines looks good, but full containers feels better. Why was it doing that? Alright, whatever. Then, honestly, we might want to, like, take the roof off of this at some point and move some of the production away. Like... realistic, well, I don't know. Realistically, it might not be a bad idea to have a lot of my off-site production. A lot of my, like, major production handled elsewhere. Instead of just upstairs. I'll think about it. Most important to just start getting these stored away. Because, yeah, this'll hold a nice large amount, and then at some point we'll get a better storage system and look into having more. But I'm just going to have spare repositories going left and right. Because, yeah, all this is going to be is just iron factory. Even to the point where maybe I want to actually just extend the factory over here and just start producing other resources this direction. I don't know. As long as I keep this specific floor purely for iron, then I don't need to worry about it too much. And we can honestly just keep going up. Okay, so what's up with you? You're not connected. Okay, but yeah, all of these ideally should just be going. What's... oh, this is the new one. That's why. Have my iron, please. Take my energy. Yeah, these things are tapped out. So, judging by this, definitely could keep extending the iron setup if I wanted to. So, let's get rid of the space elevator. Goodbye, space elevator. You're now in my inventory. I may want to rethink that, but whatever. End goal is still to put the space elevator on the absolute top. I don't think we're going to get that option. Let's get rid of some of the concrete. And a lot of the iron bars. We'll have to... oh, actually, in retrospect, it's grab these. We can just toss them in one of the storage containers. Hey. Because I'm not going to be using this stuff. It's almost tempting to do the same thing with the raw iron ore. We might want to do that, actually. Have some, like, major iron repositories later on. I'm going to fling myself off the edge, and it will be embarrassing. But funny. So we're probably going to have one of these sides feed into steel and the other feed into all of the ironworks. Because there's a lot of iron that needs to go into everything. As we saw with, like, the screws and the iron rods and whatnot. The only problem this will have is it's going to be very difficult for me to specifically balance supply and demand. My goal would be just to say, screw it, and focus on the supply side, and then, you know, build up the demand until the supply starts running out, and then go back to filling that up. There are probably better ways to do these things. Compartmentalization is important to me, and this is starting to get out of hand. I like to keep everything near each other, so, like, honestly, we might just go up a floor and have screw production, iron plate production, and so on and so forth, and just route the requisite resources. Kind of main bus, but with, like, a vertical factory. And then enclose it as necessary. So we can make fences. Not that I have much need. Okay. Now, remember, this is a stick-up. No. Oh, right. I'm trying to balance these lines. Okay. Same deal. Yeah, this is so much easier. Especially when you have all the raw resources already sitting around in storage, ready and waiting. Upgrading this thing, though, is going to be a pain in the ass. Okay, let's take that. Oh, duh. I was like, wait a second, why is this not working? The answer is I'm trying to put an input into an input, and that doesn't work. So yeah, we're not gonna have spaghetti, but we're definitely gonna have like this weird hash brown factory design. Can't complain though. It's better. I always remembered having trouble getting everything to like hook in properly, and this is a considerably more holistic design. Okay. There we go. So I guess one thing I could do is actually, on these weird straightaway stretches, that would be a good place to put potential iron storage. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it, though. Alright, let's get some smelters up. Being able to just jump from thing to thing is amazing. These Blade Runners are super good. Okay, do we think that's enough? Looks like that's good. Right, next up, we need power poles. 1, 2. Flashlight? Not that the flashlight really provides too much. Oops. It's every other. You're connected, you're connected. You're connected, connected. This is actually going pretty smoothly. So the one problem is this doesn't have a whole lot of... Like, I'm not going to be able to fit any more power lines between this. I'm just not sure if I'm going to need to. Plus, we can always upgrade to the T2 power poles if I actually do need to hook more stuff up. That'll happen at some point. Okay, let's see. Next order of business. Not the most efficient, but it's like, I don't need resources that bad immediately. It would be nice to kind of alternate. You know, get all my resources rolling again. And then scale it up. But I think I'm just gonna go bananas the wrong way. Part of it is I'm also trying not to do anything new. This is very much like, hey, I'm just gonna work on this now, as opposed to, you know, on stream. Also, I just really wanted to play this. I'm not actually sure if I'm gonna have the chance to play for a couple of days. It'll actually be pretty obvious when I haven't played this in a little while, because the lighting will change and I will change. I hear like weird like "Rahs" in the background. I have no idea what it is. Oh, aren't there like weird sky things? I think there are. Also, I haven't hooked up any of this stuff, but that's okay. There's just something really satisfying about acrobatics and factory construction. It's a match that makes no goddamn sense. And yet here we are, doing it. Okay, so I'm not actually gonna bother having these output yet. We gotta have something that takes them. What does this require? Iron rods. I am apparently totally out. Well, I should have a number just sitting around. Benefit number 1 of having a beard. You can scratch your hands with your face. Okay, let's grab some more of this. This is looking so much more organized. Obviously, it's going to be huge, and at some point I'm probably going to want to just encapsulate the whole thing and just be like, nah, that's good enough. If I have more demand than this, then I'm clearly playing wrong. Except for, that's a silly position to have as any Factorio fan would tell you. Okay, actually I have no idea if this is connecting. I think I have to put these down first. Oh, that one's going. Alright, whatever. Okay. So we should see all of these lifts going up. Yep. Okay. So the iron is going. Slowly, but it's going. This would probably be kind of one of the primo areas to get the higher tier belts. That'll be later. It is moving, though. That's the most important part. I could probably get 2 more smelters on each side with this level of output and still be okay. Do I bother? No, I think I'll leave that for when I start streaming this again. This is good. So the next question is super basic in terms of like, what the heck do I do? I'm gonna climb this. We're going to survey our smoke belching monstrosity. Question: if I put a platform over it, does the smoke go through the platform? No, it actually doesn't. Hey, doesn't solve the pollution, but it certainly hides it. That's a lesson straight out of the real life, I guess. Ugh. Still, I appreciate that having a floor blocks smoke, because I would not want to be walking around and having my feet smoked by the factory. Okay. So the one thing is, we have two parallel lines outputting. It would have been easier if I had all of the iron going to one side. Because I could have it going up both sides. And then we could have the factories reconverge back to the center. But we could also have steel. We could have a couple other things. One way or another, this whole business needs to go away. I mean, this is kind of a standalone system, but I prefer to be able to actually mess with this a little bit elsewhere. Because I need this real estate. I say after saying that I have actually unlimited space, but you know what, whatever. So what's in there? Oh, we already pulled all of the solid biofuel out of that, so not really a whole lot of reason to worry. We do have a silly amount of screws here, which is an issue. I think these require iron rods. So yeah, I guess the real question would be, what do I do with both iron lines? Because I can potentially route them all the way to this side, have them loop, and then have my associated iron chains going kind of down this direction. Because, yeah, if I'd been thinking with my iron processing downstairs, what we could have done was really just had all of the smelting just going. Maybe less space efficient, less split efficient. You'd have droughts further down faster-ish. Not really. I don't know, it just feels less condensed to me. But I guess it's really just the long versus wide argument. But that means that all I'd have to do is just zigzag back and forth depending on what resources needed. That does also imply that almost all my resources are going to be just pure iron plates. But still. The main reason why I want to do that is eventually we're going to start pumping water up into this middle layer, and I'm going to want to have space for that. So I guess let's start by ripping this up. We're not going to be able to move the screws easily. That's the biggest problem. Because there's a silly amount of screws in those containers, and I don't have space for that. I'll figure it out pretty quick, though. Let's start with these. I can take the small amounts of screws. That's no problem. Let's see. The main question is, how much iron and how much, well, yeah, I guess the question I should probably be asking is, how much do I want a main bus? And how much do I want to kind of compartmentalize my factory? Because what I could do is actually just do the same thing that I did downstairs. Use this layer to make nothing but iron rods screws and iron plates. It would make sense. Otherwise, I could actually just go back downstairs, go to all those smelters, and handle all that production on site. I just would prefer to have, like, the iron floor, or the ingot floor, the plate floor. And... well, I guess that actually kind of solves that problem. Because we have a decent amount of space here. What we could do, loop a lot of the iron up here, loop a lot of the iron up on the other side, have a bunch of constructors making plates going down one side, iron rods going down the other. Because I think those are the only two things that you make out of just raw iron, yeah? Let's go check the crafting benches. I'm going to have to probably think about this. Because, yeah, you have to do iron rods. So, yeah, there's my answer. Straight up, we're going to have to put screws on an upper floor. Easy. Okay. Got it. Have enough space? I do. Cool. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. It's going to require a lot of work. Let's see. I guess let's just do organization, personal box. I'm going to have to remember to come back to this next time. Because I guess we're coming to the edge of our time, the end of our time. It's not so bad. But I got to go do other things today. Like play Hades. Okay, so I have a little bit of space. I guess we can tear this up and then just ferry from box to box. Either that or there's actually less screws. There are just slightly less screws than I thought. But only slightly. Hello, screws. Okay. So that's good. So yeah, we're just going to turn this entire thing into nothing but iron rod and iron plate production. And that way we can scale it up. All I have to do is just keep supplying more and more iron. So what I'm probably going to do is consolidate a lot of the iron supply here. Actually, no, I'd probably just put it into a balancer system like I did with anything else. You know, the same balancer system I used with the rest of the factory down below. Spit that all into constructors on either sides, and have a central strip of nothing but iron plates and iron rods, which then I bring up to a even higher floor. Oh boy. I almost feel like I'm going to have to take a lot of my basic structures, like the hub and whatnot, and move it to the top, or who knows what. One way or another, I've got power. I got plenty of power. I saved some power here, and that's okay. Redo. Perfect. It's close. It's very off-brand, and that's fine.